I'm Kels with Southwest Classic Auto Revival Specialist, and we are working on this 1983 K5 Blazer. So I've been working on this for a customer of mine, went through everything, rebuilt all the axles, all new interior. He wants it to look original but new, so that's what we've been working on. Now we've got to replace this Chevy 350 small block. I've already pretty much torn apart the top side, so my videos and channel is not going to be how-tos. Do follow my instructions at your own will, I guess. Just a fair warning. There's the right way, there's the wrong way, and then I guess there's my way. So I'm looking forward to this. What we are replacing this with is this 383 stroker motor. So my customer bought this from an online company. I've never worked with them before, so we are going to see how good it is, I guess. We've got the Aces EFI kit for it. We had this on this already. I'm not going to give a review on it because I haven't spent enough time on the Aces kit to give a true review. My first thoughts are you get what you pay for, and so, but with that being said, again, not how-tos, but I will do my way how-tos along the way. So first thing, always disconnect your batteries. Make sure those are disconnected, and then really you just start disconnecting anything that's not attached to the motor that's going to stay with the motor when you pull it. So your radiator hoses, your fuel lines, your ground wires, your power wires to your starter, your basically, like I said, anything that's not going to be attached to the motor when you pull it. It's pretty self-explanatory. I did pull the fan off the front of it just so I don't mess up the radiator, because we are going to reuse this radiator. This is actually a diesel originally. It's titled as a diesel. A lot of people, and I'm in southern Utah, so we don't have emissions in southern Utah, thankfully. But for those people that do have emissions, if you do want to be able to pretty much put anything you want, if you find a Chevy that is a diesel, title it as a diesel. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. Utah, we don't have, it might be different in your state, but we don't have emissions here anyway, so it's not an issue. But I've heard that if you have a diesel titled vehicle that you don't have to go through emissions, so look into that before you do anything. But so this had a 6.2 Chevy diesel in it originally. It's got a Chevy 350. We're basically putting the same motor in it, other than it's a 383 stroker that's been built with forged rods and pistons and things like that. So we're hoping for about 600 horsepower out of that. That's what it was built for. Again, my customer did it, so I'm just putting it in for him, where I've done everything else on this for him. So with that being said, let's get to work. I know the starter is gonna take 9/16, so and then I think the exhaust, I think they had to put some 5/8 in there because of a few broken bolts. So let's hop under this beast. I do have a lift. This is another project. Converted it into 4-wheel drive. I'm not showing you anything on this. It's pretty much done, waiting on wheels and tires for it, but it's got a brand new motor, transmission. Inside is built out. It's going to be his traveling road van for, he's got 2 dogs, no kids, 2 dogs, and him and his wife want to travel the country, go to national parks, and so it's got Bluetooth. I did the 4-wheel drive conversion, transfer case, all that stuff. All right, let's get screwdriver and light. Let's get up under this baby. Getting old, I have a bad back, spinal cord stimulator, all that. So some of this I do what I can, but All right, so I see we're gonna start by taking the inspection cover off, and then we're gonna undo the 2 starter bolts that hold this starter in, the power wire that's up here. Undo that, and then once we get this inspection cover off, we'll be able to get to the torque converter bolts, the bell housing bolts, and then undo the exhaust from both sides. It's got dual exhausts, obviously, so we'll undo those, and then that's pretty much it for the bottom. Once we get that, we'll go back up top, hook up our cherry picker, take off some power steering hoses that I didn't unhook yet because I didn't want it leaking all over my face down here. And once we get the cherry picker hooked up, then we'll come back underneath here, put some tension on it, undo the motor mount bolts, and pull those 2 bolts out and pull this puppy out. So pulling motors really isn't that big of a deal. I know it's intimidating probably, but really if you have any mechanical abilities, then it's not too hard. So inspection cover bolts, should be 4 of them. This is just a plastic inspection cover. Some of them are metal, some of them are plastic, whatever you got. These have Phillips head and hex head. Some of them don't, some of them do. Whoa. Oh, dang it. Come on, buddy. Get you out of there. Alright. Dagnabbit. Come on. Alright, so this is a rebuilt transmission, has less than 2,000 miles on a rebuilt transmission. And so you got your torque converter, and then these are your torque converter bolts. So what you're going to want to do is just take the bolt out, and then you're going to get a pry bar in here and spin this. It's sometimes depending on how stiff everything is, but you're gonna put it in neutral, that way your transmission and everything can spin. Make sure your wheels are chalked. This is lifted big enough that, you know, I got plenty of room down here. This has got a 6-inch lift with 36s, so I'm not even doing this on the lift, obviously, as you saw. I'm just doing this on the normal concrete shop floor. So obviously if you have a lift, it makes it easier, but yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. It's not that difficult. So let's get going. All right, let's I got the batteries unhooked. Obviously you don't want to, the starter is going to be connected to the main power, coming straight off the battery. So always make sure your batteries are unhooked before we get too crazy, and you don't want to start a fire or shock the crap out of you. So pull these 2 starter bolts out. Get some dental work done if you ain't careful either. I've had this starter fall on me. That's why I leave the power wire connected. I've learned the hard way that sometimes these are heavier than you think they are. So disconnect the battery, and then at least that way you got the power wire to hopefully it's short enough that if it does slip and fall, it doesn't come down and knock your teeth out. Yeah, I have a you know, I do this for a living, so I kind of want to do things that everyday man can, with just simple tools if possible in my videos. So that way you don't feel like you have to have specialized equipment to be able to do everything. So I'm gonna bring you guys up here, show you what I left connected. See how that just hangs there? That way if it does slip and fall, but it's totally loose now, that way it doesn't hit you in the face. But you can see I've got if you can see that, you got to your starter solenoid. So right there you got your main power wire, that right there, and then you got your a ground wire coming off your starter solenoid. So and your ignition wire right going to the other power wire. So you got your off of your ignition, you got your ground and your power. Those are the two small wires that come from your ignition to give signal to, and from your starter solenoid to trip your starter. And then you got your main power wire that gives you enough juice to your solenoid to crank your motor over. So we're gonna pull all those off of there. Should be a 5/8, I believe, and a 1/4 inch. And so we'll pull those off and get the starter the rest of the way out. Alright, let's pull these out. I lied, it's an 8mm. Dang metric. Pull this ignition ground off, and make sure this eyelet, whoever put this on, use an eyelet that's the freaking same size as the bolt. There we go. And you can, I mean, I know some people that don't pull the starter, but then you run the risk of breaking teeth either on your starter or on your flex plate. Just pull the starter. It makes your life a lot easier. And then this is where you need to be careful of not breaking your teeth, because you're pulling off your safety net right here. So this is the 5/8 nut. Pull this off. This is your ignition power and your main battery power. Pull those two puppies off of there, and I am struggling. Oh my gosh. I need 3 hands. There we go. Okay. And that's all she wrote for this bad girl. Let's put this bad girl neck. We're gonna put the same starter on her new motor. It's still good. There's no sense of just spending money to spend money. That's my 2 cents. Some people like to put new everything on, but I'm just your ordinary man that ain't got all the money in the world. So reuse what you can and buy new what you have to. And then let's we got our exhaust. Some of these are going to be mixed match. I took this to an exhaust shop, and they did a nice job, but now we got mismatched bolts and yada yada yada. So I don't know why they didn't put the same 9/16 back on, and they put 5/8. So I hate it when you got different size nuts and for the same dang thing, but we'll get through it. Maybe. Thought it was loose enough we could hold these by hand, but or new enough. Only did this exhaust a couple months ago, but they're not. I'm gonna have to get a top wrench on that. We'll do these others. These others should be 9/16, and yep, standard size. Jesus. That one's 5/8. Gosh dang it. Joy of working on stuff that's been worked on and worked on and worked on. Nothing's the same size as... Are you kidding me? What size is this bad Larry? Is it? Oh my gosh. They put a metric on that one? Okay. I'll be back. We're gonna work on this side. I'm already down here, so before I go fiddle farting around for the right size, let's pull off what we can. There we go. Come on, you got this. Knuckle Buster 3000. I should just go grab my other tool, but I'm trying to do this with tools every guy has. Hopefully, if you have a socket set and a basic ratchet set, you can do just about anything on square bodies. You don't need too many specialty tools unless you're changing a spindle out or a door handle. Makes life easier with a couple specialty tools that you can buy on any website, but other than that, a standard set of sockets and a standard set of wrenches you'll be able to do just about anything you need to on these trucks. That goes for C10, K10, K5, and those that don't know, I pretty much specialize in square body, or you know, any Chevy trucks really that are older than, I won't do new stuff, pretty much 89 and older, but that's why I like, because everything's interchangeable for the most part, as long as it's, you know, you got your 73 to 87, that almost everything's interchangeable, and then you got your 67 to 72, almost everything's interchangeable. And I'm just a Chevy guy. Probably get crap from you Ford and Dodge guys, but that's alright. Alright, I am gonna get some specialty tools, because most of you have them, I think, and it makes this whole heck of a lot easier. Alright, when in doubt, get a bigger tool. So I got that other side off. I don't need to waste your guys' time saying that. I might need a bigger extension. Yeah, gosh dang it. If it ain't one thing, it's another. I tell you what. Can't quite get it with the leaf spring shackle, so get a bigger extension. I'll be alright. So I'm on the last bolt, but every different size. You got 9/16, you got 5/8, 11/16. This thing's been put together more times than taken apart and screwed more than Pamela Anderson. So let's get this last one off of here, and there she goes. Alright. Okay. Now we got the exhaust disconnected. So next is going to be your torque converter bolts, like we talked about, that are just screwed in through your flex plate. And then we'll take the ones we can get to off. So these two we can get off, and then we'll put a big flathead or a pry bar in here and make sure this is a neutral, chalk the wheels, and turn the flex plate and be able to get everything else off. I like to just put it in neutral, then it's easier. And then once we get these off, we'll do the bell housing bolts, and she'll be about ready. The only thing underneath other than that is engine mount bolt. So you got a bolt through there, and that's all that holds it in. One big long bolt on each side into your engine mounts, what holds these bad Larrys in. And then you got your, obviously, your transmission mount and cross member into your transfer case right there. So not much holding these puppies in. So let's get back to work. All right, I got two of these three bad girls out, and you want to just take her easy. Take her easy. They'll break off. So one I was able to get out with just a little bit of love. The other I had to get a little bit aggressive with her, and you just don't want to break them off. But this one's not going to be the end of the world, because I got a brand new flex plate, got a brand new torque converter for this new shiny girl that's going in here. So if I break these off, I don't really care, but I'd rather not, just because this torque converter's still good. We're just using a new one, so I'll reuse this torque converter on something else that needs it, because this is all brand new rebuilt. So again, I ain't got all the money in the world, so I reuse what I can, and that's just a fact, Jack. So let's get back to, these are 9/16 by the way. So if you have a pry bar, you can try to stick it in here with a ratchet and break them loose. I'm just going on medium power, just taparoo on this little. See, that ain't enough love, so she needs it a little harder, just like some do. Some like it easy, some need you to give her a little more onion. So this one, put her on power 3, and if it don't work, we're breaking out the big dog like we had to on the last one. There we go. So that bad girl she needed a little bit more love, and we got her out without breaking her off. So they're not that long, so maybe 1 inch, 7/8 of an inch. I bet you they're an inch long. That's all these bad girls are. So they're only a 9/16 bolt with a lock washer on them, so you do just want to take her easy. And there's only 3 of them holding this bad girl on. So now the flex plate is loose. So what we're gonna do when we pull it out, if you guys have never pulled one before, is we're gonna undo, we'll undo the bell housing bolts. The torque converter hopefully will stay with the transmission when we pull this bad girl out, and the flex plate will come with us. The torque converter will stay with here, and we're not putting a new tranny in it. Again, this is a rebuilt Turbo 400, brand new, less than 1,000 miles on it. But we do have a new torque converter, new flex plate going on. So when we do pull the motor, we'll pull this bad girl out, fill the new torque converter up with fluid, and slap her back in there and drop the new motor back down in. So we got tranny cooler lines. We do have the original diesel radiator in this bad girl, which the tranny lines go in on the opposite side, so that's why this kind of jumbo mess is down here, is because whoever did this install from the diesel, it wasn't me. You know, they did this. So which I will probably redo, because this is a tight pinch right here, pretty tight. I don't like that, and it's hanging down. I'd rather just redo the lines, make it a little cleaner, get them tucked up out of the way. Out here we live in the desert, so lots of sagebrush, lots of crap that, I know these, you got your pumpkin and stuff that hang down lower, but one little thing and boom, rip this out and there goes your tranny. That's not what we want. So we'll get this all fixed up, but next step is bell housing bolts, and then we'll be about ready to pull this girl out. Alright, so these bell housing bolts, there's going to be 6 of them. 9/16 again. That's why I love Chevys, is 9/16, 5/8, ½ inch. It's pretty much what everything's built with, or out of. So there's going to be 6 of them. There's going to be 2 down low, and then the top of these gosh dang it, there we go. So there's gonna be 2 down low. There's one right here, one right there that has some wiring bolted to it, and then if you just imagine, it just makes like a when you're 5 years old drawing a house, you got your walls and then you got your roof. It makes a pitch up to the top, so you got your 2 down low, and then where it goes up and makes a V, you got 2 halfway up to the V. On these old Chevys. The newer ones have a bolt at the top of the V too, but this is old enough that they ain't got that, so it's just 6 bolts. And so 9/16, and let's pull these bad Larrys out. Before you get all the way out, I like to just put a little jack or something underneath your transmission, because as you can see, 4-wheel drive's got a transfer case mount that bolts in, holds the transmission up, but you ain't got nothing holding the front of your trans up. So if you pull your motor out, this is going to want to fall down. So support this. I like to use a 4x4 with just a floor jack, and that way when you're installing it, your floor jack, you can manhandle it a little bit, go up or down and sideways, and do whatever you need to do to get it lined up to mount your motor back up. So you can use floor jack, you can use whatever you got, but floor jack with a 4x4 on top of it so it doesn't hurt your trans pan is the avenue I choose. You can do whatever you want, but see if I can do this one-handed. You guys probably don't care to see this anyway, but I'm gonna try to show you as much as I can, I guess, and again, there's the right way, there's the wrong way, and then there's the way I do it. And as long as you don't hurt yourself, really kill yourself, and you get the job done, then if it works, you done good. I used to be a mechanic at a Ford dealer for 10 years and sold most of my good tools, but I don't use Snap-on. I got old DeWalt, old Harbor Freight Special. To me, Harbor Freight, you can't, with their warranties, anything electric, I make sure I get their 2-year warranty, and if it breaks, take it back and get a brand new one. So for the money, I mean, it's not as powerful. You don't get as much torque as a Snap-on or as a Milwaukee, but for 99% of the things that you do, you're either going to break a bolt anyways, but for the everyday consumer, you can't beat Harbor Freight. Fraction of the cost and great warranty on it. They're not a sponsor, obviously. Harbor Freight, if you want to sponsor, I'll gladly. I use you every day. Hit me up. Southwest Classic Auto Revival at gmail.com. That's the best way. Okay, you get the idea. You know how to take out 6 bolts, but I'll take these out and I'll get back. Alright, let me show you what we got here. So I just got this floor jack. You see this bad girl? HF Special. And then I just put a 4x4 block right there going across that tranny pan. That way you don't pop a hole in it. It gives it more surface area to hold it with. I just butted it up against this cross member, put this little piece of wood just overlapping that cross member just a little bit, but basically I got it clear across that transmission pan, and then you just give it just enough pressure. You're not trying to lift it up. See, if I turn the handle just a little bit, it moves. So you're just lifting it up just enough to get pressure on it, and that's it. You're not, because I took out the 4 bolts, two on the 2 lower ones on each side, and so now all I've got left are 2, and they're up in the, let me see if I can grab this bad girl and show you. They're I don't know if you'll be able to see them, but they're up in there. They're about right at the tip of my light right there. So you're gonna need some long extensions, and you can finagle any way you want, but you're gonna need at least 2 feet, but I'm gonna do 3 feet worth of extensions. And so if you ain't got 3 feet, you can do different sizes. Start, you know, with 1/2 inch, do a reducer down to 3/8, and if you need to, do a reducer down to 1/4, and it's 9/16 bolts. So, and they're not in there very tight. These are not torqued very much because you're just holding the transmission attached to the engine block, so these aren't cranked in there. So whatever you need to do to get to these, but they are kind of tricky. You can't just reach up in there and get them. You do need an extension. Like I says, the 3 or 4 feet is ideal, because then you just end up back here by the transfer case and you got a straight shot to them, which is what I'm going to do. Or if you got about 18 inches, you can reach your arm up in there and finagle them out. But the longer you got, the easier it is to get out. So I'm gonna get working on that. I'll show you my setup that I reach to get to these bolts here in just a second. All right, you ready to see this bad girl? I do have longer extensions. They are expensive, so I finagled about 5 3/8 inch shorter extensions into one, and then I just got a 9/16 inch socket on the end of that. So I mean, this is the poor man's way to do it. And you can kind of see the, I don't know if you can, try to get the camera up in there, but you just shine your light and you can see a bolt up in there, and put this bad girl up on there. And once you get her, I don't think I'll be able to do this one-handed. Here, let's put you down for a minute. And try to not block your view, but get her on there and twist her out of there. Like I said, these, hopefully whoever installed this didn't do you dirty and crank on these, because like I said, these bad girls ain't gotta be screwed in that tight. All they are is just marrying up the transfer case or the transmission bell housing to the engine block. So your flex plate and torque converter are really what need to be torqued. These shouldn't be. I'll be good to go. And let's get this bad girl out. Hopefully it came out. Oh, sorry about that. Let's look. Boom. 5 down, 1 to go. So you do that same thing on the other side. Just now that you got your extensions built, one more bolt. Make sure everything's good before you pull that last bolt out. But yeah, we'll do that last one and I'll show you. All right, went and got the cherry picker. Got Nelly here helping. Oh, Nelly girl, good girl. All right, as you can see, I got everything labeled. I like to just label things. Pretty self-explanatory on most of this, but that way you don't forget something when you're hooking up the new motor and something's not working, and that it's just a good reminder. Anyways, we've got the power steering hoses to disconnect, and that's it. Everything else is disconnected. So what I've gone ahead and done is just put a little bit of tension on this, not enough to lift it up. You don't want to bind the motor mounts, but just enough tension on it that it's not gonna, when we disconnect the motor mounts, that it's gonna fall. Obviously we need to get underneath it. That's the easiest way to pull the motor mounts. So put a little bit of tension on your cherry picker, and these plates make it super easy. Then you don't have to fight with the chain and getting bolts into the block. I'm a fan of this. So you can use the leveler. I have one of those as well, but for a small block Chevy, just the plate I think is great. So I'm gonna disconnect this short hose that goes to the gearbox, and then I'm just gonna lift it up a little bit before I disconnect everything else. I don't want to make a mess everywhere, so I'll disconnect this short hose. That way I have a little bit more room to maneuver it. These are long, obviously, as you can see. They got a lot more play in them, so leave those attached for now until I get it, you know, loose, and then I'll disconnect them from the hydro boost up there, the two hoses that go to the power steering pump, and that way I can try to avoid making the biggest mess as I can. So let's go underneath it. All right, so we are just using a little mini 3/8 impact. I call it mini. It's but it's 5/8 bolt right there on your motor mount. Just again, we got the top secured so that we don't have to deal with the motor falling on us, and it won't fall anyway. It's held in there. But zip this baby, and there we go. That's the motor mount bolt. So we've got one on each side, and after that it's home free. So that's the passenger side, and there's the driver's side. So simple as that. So I'll work on pulling this other one. All right, I got the other motor mount out. Got this one line disconnected. Everything else should be disconnected. So let's see if we can get her to pump up. Make sure everything we got. I've only got these two lines connected, so I've got all the electrical disconnected, all the coolant lines disconnected. Let's give her a couple pumps, see if we can get these motor mounts to come loose. There we go. See that? There we go. Now let's slide her out from the, if we can. Gonna have the torque converter. Let's look underneath there real quick, make sure we don't have anything going too crazy. Oh, we do. We got the we got this jack, because we're lifting the motor up. It's not fully out yet, so let's let's give her just a couple of right there just to stabilize it. We got some coolant coming out of her. Let's just make sure everything is looking a-okay. Just take time and double check it all. Make sure everything's looking okay. So there we go. That should have been popped out of the motor mounts. Yep, you can see there we got popped out of the motor mount. And so now we should be able to slide it forward, knock on wood. Making a mess with coolant. That's usual. Oh, this side for some reason is stuck. So let's check the transmission again. Alright, looks like we're stuck on this side, so let's see if we can go up a little more. Alright, when in doubt, pry her out. There we go. Okay, let's lift this puppy up a little bit more. Check this side again. There she goes. Okay. That's what we needed right there. Let's check the transmission. Yep. Okay, see the torque converter. Flywheel, or it doesn't have a flywheel, it's not a flex plate. Flywheels are on manuals. Flex plates are on automatic, if you didn't know. Should be loose now, so let's see if we can wobble her forward a little bit. May or may not be able to. Okay, let's go up with the girl. Just worried about hitting on this fan shroud, which it looks like I would right to be a little nervous about it. I might have to take this big girl off. Looks like we're gonna clear that. I could disconnect that fuel regulator, fuel pressure regulator if we need to. Let's make sure we're good. We got that fuel line. Looks like this harness. We got a mess going on here. I think we're clear. Yeah, we'll clear. It's plastic, a little finagling. We're actually getting rid of this anyways. I should have taken it off beforehand, but I was lazy. All right, just 4 bolts across the top. Got her out. Now it's time to take these bad girls off. Everything seems to be okay. Got the transmission dipstick that got caught. That's the vacuum line to the shifter. Okay, yep. Man, this is dirtier than I thought. Okay, let's take those 2 lines going to the hydro booster and she'll be home free. So hang on a minute. Alright, got those 2 hoses unhooked, so knock on wood, we should be home free. Let's do this. Gonna have to go up quite a ways. This thing's tall. Normally I'd use my lift, but I'm not because I wanted to do this for you guys with basic tools, but it's about 10 times faster doing it with professional tools. I haven't done it this way in a long time. A little rusty doing it old school. All right. This is always the nerve-wracking part when you got it up this high and you don't want to drop one of these bad girls. Hopefully, it's important to make sure your studs are in all the way. Clear all these tools and mess on that plate, because if you got a cracked manifold or your manifold intake manifold bolts or anything, I mean, it's unlikely. Most of the time, the main thing you got to worry about is just your hook and chain. But she is out. Let's set this bad girl lower a little bit. I always that tire over there you see, and put it on a tire for now, and I'll end up putting it on a motor stand, but this sounds awful. Sorry about that. So just set that underneath the oil pan right there. Best to have the oil pan go right inside. You just want to keep it from getting dented or broken and sitting directly on the concrete, because I plan on using this motor for something else. It's still a good motor. It's just my customer, which is my best friend, this is his ride, so he wanted to go this other route, so that's what we're doing. I'm gonna slide this forward a little bit. It's wanting to tip forward, so. And then after this, I'm gonna do another video of basically how to dress this other motor, everything you need. You know, you buy motors from these online motor places, and unfortunately, they don't include anything. I mean, they charge an arm and a leg to do anything. So, like I said, we're gonna be installing this, but I mean, it doesn't even include breathers or fill caps for your valve covers, or even thermostat no thermostat housing, no nothing. So all these parts are plus 10 more boxes of parts inside that are for this build. So this is what we're throwing into this bad girl. It's a 380 stroker, but that's how you take out a small block Chevy out of a C10, K10, K5, anything. A C is a 2-wheel drive, K is a 4-wheel drive, and obviously the K5 is the Blazer. So, but big hole in here. Again, this used to be a diesel. I didn't do the original change, so I'm just doing this one. So we're putting basically the same small block Chevy back in it, just a 383 stroker. So these hydro boosts are nice. Brake boosters are a little bit different. So the hydro boosts, if you don't know, it's your power steering and your power brake. So it works off of one system, which are nice. They usually come on the diesels and heavier duty trucks, which I'm a fan of the hydro boosts. They're easy to work on and rebuild. But anyway, I'll get this engine bay cleaned up. He says he doesn't want me to paint it. He wants it to leave the original look. So I'm gonna get rid of some of this wiring. They left the diesel wiring in here, so nobody's ever ripped that out. So I'm gonna go through, clean up the wiring, and I'll do another video of how to prep this a new motor and how to install one. So stay tuned. Well guys, I appreciate you watching on how to remove a motor out of a Chevy. So this is a pretty basic video, but again, I try to do it with all basic tools. So everything I use here you could get for used cherry picker. You can pick up for less than $100 on Marketplace, and handful of basic tools. So for under $100 you'll have the bare essentials to pull your own motor. Same thing with installing it. They're really easy. It's a lot of people are intimidated, but take your time and watch YouTube videos. Everything you need to know is online now. So it's nice to get your hands a little dirty, and stay tuned. We're gonna be installing that 383 and prepping it and breaking it in, and show you guys how to do all that process as well. So appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you next time.